This is gonna be one awkward video since I didn't really memorize this. I just made this on the whim. But hey, gotta do what you gotta do. Wait a minute. Oh sheesh. I was already recording. Oh no. Well, hello everyone. Welcome to Storytime with... Should I say ya boy? Whatever. Ya boy Segundo. Well, also known as Rolibin II Lim Piper. Now, for my first ever storytelling, don't mind me just staring down, I really haven't memorized this. Now, for my first ever story with you all, we are going to be diving into one of the most powerful tools humanity has ever created. Which, you guessed it, if for the love of God you read the title, which please read it if you haven't. Literature. Now, according to my folder of knowledge, or his assistant bond paperboy, which contains basically everything we're about to tackle today, from ancient myths carved into stone to epic stories that shape entire nations. We are gonna be exploring how words have transformed our world, one story at a time. Now, whether you're a bookworm or maybe you're just interested in, basic history, why not stick around? This could actually be useful for y'all, because literature is basically the story of us all. Now, before we begin the video, let's give a quick recap on what is literature. So, literature is the art of storytelling that captures human experiences, ideas, and especially emotions. It reflects society, allowing us to explore different perspectives, cultures, and the complexity of life. That's basically the summary of it. Now, enough about my yapping. Let's get on with the first part of this story that I'm gonna probably post on YouTube. The birth of writing. Now, the earliest form of writing began with the Sumerians around 3400 BCE. Wow, that's a long time ago. They developed cuneiform, which I'm guessing some of y'all are already familiar with cuneiform, which started as a system of recording trade and administrative tasks, but eventually evolved into a tool for storytelling. Now, writing marked the beginning of recorded history, allowing stories, laws, and ideas to be passed down accurately across generations. Now, before we move on to the second part, let's tackle one of the first great works of literature, which is the Epic of Gilgamesh. Now, as I have mentioned basically earlier, we're going to be talking about the Epic of Gilgamesh, one of the first great works of literature. Now, the Epic of Gilgamesh was written in ancient Mesopotamia, or known as Iraq today. It's an epic poem about a king's adventures and his quest for immortality, revealing the early themes of heroism, friendship, and the human condition, which are surprisingly currently present in today's modern literature. Now, before we continue, I would also like to mention key literary contributions from ancient Egypt, like the Book of the Dead, which contains, this is scary, spells and incantations for the afterlife. Now, the other honorable mention is the early Chinese texts, like the, I hope I do not butcher this pronunciation, I Ching, a philosophical classic. These civilizations used writing to explore spirituality, philosophy, and lastly, governance. Now, let's move on to the second part of my storytelling, which is about the contributions of Greece and Rome to literature. So first up, let's start with the Greeks. Now, Homer's The Iliad and the Odyssey are foundational texts of Western literature. These epics not only told stories of war, adventure, and heroism, but also introduced archetypes like the tragic hero and the heroic journey that are currently still used, surprisingly, in storytelling today. Now, the Greeks also contributed deeply to philosophical thought through writers like Plato and Is this supposed to be Plato? Plato or Aristotle? I hope that's a correct pronunciation. Their works, like the Republic and Poetics, explore ideas about human nature, politics, ethics, and art, influencing not just literature but philosophy, science, and politics for centuries. And we cannot forget about the Romance now. Writers like Virgil, who wrote the Aeneid, built upon Greek foundations, blending history, mythology, and heroism to create their own national epic. Ovid's Metamorphoses was influential for its stories of transformation and mythology, shaping later works of art and literature in the Renaissance and beyond, which we'll be talking about later on. Now, for the medieval period, let's start with Beowulf, one of the most important works of Old English literature. Now, it tells the story of a hero battling monsters like Grendel and a dragon. Its themes of bravery, faith, and legacy reflect the values of medieval warrior culture, making it a cornerstone of early English literature. Another one is that during this period, specifically this period, stories of knights, chivalry, and courtly love became popular, such as the Arthurian legends. These tales blended mythology, history, and the Christian values. Now, Dante Alighieri's The Divine Comedy is a significant literary work from this time, describing a man's journey through hell, purgatory, and heaven, symbolizing spiritual growth. Now, to end this part, we will talk about mysticism and religion in this period. Now, literature was deeply intertwined with religion in this period. Geoffrey Chaucer's The Canterbury Tales reflects medieval society and its values, with characters from all walks of life embarking on a pilgrimage, revealing the diversity and complexity of medieval life through storytelling. Now, let's move on to what I mentioned earlier in the second part of this storytelling, the Renaissance and Enlightenment. Now, for the Renaissance period, I'm sure you've heard about William Shakespeare, aka the author of Romeo and Juliet. Now, William Shakespeare is often considered the greatest writer in the English language. His plays, such as Hamlet, Macbeth, and, as I've mentioned earlier, Romeo and Juliet, explore universal human experiences like love, power, ambition, betrayal, and death. His mastery of language, character development, and dramatic structure made a lasting impact on literature, theater, and the English language itself. Now, in the 17th century, the modern novel, you know, the books or the online where there's only words, no pictures, began to emerge, offering longer, more complex narratives than epics or romances. Now, Don Quixote by is this Cervantes? Cervantes is considered one of the first modern novels, blending comedy, tragedy, and commentary on the nature of reality and idealism. Now, the Enlightenment era in the 18th century focused on reason, science, and the power of the individual. Writers like Voltaire, which is the author of Candide, and Jonathan Swift, the author of Gulliver's Travels, used satire to critique society and government, promoting ideas of humanism and social reform. Now, this period saw literature becoming more reflective of modern political, and philosophical ideas. Now, since we're done with that, let's move on to the 19th century romantics to realism. Man, I need to wash this. It smells terrible. Oh my goodness, I hit record again? Alright then, the 19th century romantics to realism. Now let's start with romanticism. The romantics like Wordsworth, the author of lyrical ballads, and Mary Shelley, the author of Frankenstein, emphasized emotion and nature, inspiring readers to seek beauty in both the sublime and the terrifying. Now, the rise of realism. Realist authors such as Charles Dickens, the author of Great Expectations, and Leo Tolstoy, the author of Anna Karenina, focused on the on the lives of ordinary people, capturing social issues, moral struggles, and the impact of industrialization. This grounded, relatable storytelling highlighted the human side of changing societies. Now, the impact of the 19th century romantics and realism to society is that literature became a social mirror, with realism inspiring awareness about issues like poverty and inequality, while romanticism encouraged introspection and a return to nature. Now let's move on to... Wow, I can't believe this is actually almost the end. We're gonna be lastly talking about... we're gonna be talking about modern literature. Wow, can't believe this is gonna be the last part. So our last part is gonna be about modern literature, which is of course today's literature. So yeah, this is gonna be the last part. Alright, on a quick note before we continue to the last part. Now, what do you think about my my creativeness about this video? I know, I just I just, read the script. I just read the script since I was way too lazy to memorize it, which I guess this is actually my fault since I'm a serial procrastinator. Basically, what that means is I'm lazy, always postponing things to the point where it's almost the deadline, and the deadline is on Monday. And I'm glad we don't have any ROTC tomorrow, since I'm still gonna have to be editing this. And I'm probably gonna cringe while editing this. So, yeah. Our teacher did say that you should be creative. So, The reason why I chose this type of recording where, I'm stuttering, not cutting parts where I was wrong, well, simply because I did it just to show how an unprepared person can do when he's under pressure. Pressure, I mean, when he has a project, which I am right now. I am actually unprepared. Sorry in advance, ma'am. But yeah, I hope I actually cure my procrastination. And maybe in the future I could maybe post more high quality videos, though still trash quality of the camera, not you get what I mean. And yeah, that's basically it. So yeah, let's get into the oh my god, I'm stuttering. I really need to drink water. My throat's dry. Let's get into the last part, which is what I've said earlier: modern literature. Now, ignore my yapping about earlier. I really needed to extend the video. So, modern literature or modernism. Now, in the early 20th century, modernism shook up storytelling norms. James Joyce, the author of Ulysses, and T.S. Eliot, the author of The Wasteland, experimented with fragmented narratives, focusing on inner thoughts and the disordered nature of modern life. Their work explored themes of alienation, and questioned traditional norms and values. Now, postmodernism. Authors like Kurt Vonnegut, the author of Slaughterhouse-Five, and Gabriel Garcia Marquez, the author of 100 Years of Solitude, blended reality with the surreal, using humor, irony. Oh, wait. Again. Now, Gabriel Garcia Marquez, the author of 100 Years of Solitude, blended reality with the surreal, using humor, irony, and magical realism. This approach challenged readers to question reality and the narrative itself. Now, about the global voices. The 20th century also saw diverse perspectives with works like Things Fall Apart by Chinua Achebe, exploring colonialism's impact on Africa. As literature became global, it offered readers insights into varied cultures, identities, and histories, making the world more connected through stories. Now, to end this off, let's talk about why literature still matters. Literature is not just a reflection of the past, it continues to shape our understanding of the world and ourselves. Whether it's inspiring social movements, influencing other media like films, or simply providing an escape into imaginative worlds, literature remains a vital part of human culture. So, that's the end of my yapping session. I hope you listened to the end of the video. And ma'am, apologies for the low quality video. This is literally all I can do since I really have a lot to do outside of the house. And I still have to, study for the test of upcoming subjects. But yeah, that's all. And I hope you enjoyed my story time. And until next time, my dear viewers, Segundo out.